Greetings, Cyberdogs and citizens of the interbubs. This is ReNDoG coming at you in another episode of Minecraft Survival from the Hermitcraft server. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today, baby. I'm feeling really good, guys. In fact, I feel like $1 million because this weekend was an absolutely amazing weekend, man. Iskal and I managed to achieve something that, well, completely blew our minds. I'm going to tell you all about that today. Also, today, we're going to be heading back to the Netherboard. We're going to be working on our base a little bit. I feel like laying down some black and orange concrete. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the mood to create a new structure for us at base. But first things first, guys. Here we are in the ocean monument that we successfully raided in the previous episode. And we came here for these beautiful things, right? These sea lanterns. And, well, I want to get all of these sea lanterns in my belly. I've spent way too many hours of my life emptying out this ocean monument. I was reading some of the comments out there in the previous episode. And, well, I didn't really need to empty out the monument to get the sea lanterns. But as this is the first ocean monument that I've ever conquered, I thought that it would be apt to get rid of all of the water to see how it's done, right? Because I've seen so many hermits do it. And I kind of wanted to get it done. We now have a completely drained ocean monument just in case we need any goods, any of this prismarine jazz. And this is how I've been doing it, right? I've been making these segments using Iscalium and then using these beautiful sponges to soak that water up. And that is basically how I've drained this entire monument. Pretty easy, right? Of course, what you got to do is cook those soaked freaking sponges so that they can go back into a water collecting state. So I've set up an array of fern eyes over here to cook up those sponges. Now check this out. From raiding this monument, I actually got quite a lot of materials from killing all of the guardians. And the most important thing is I got all of these prismarine shards and prismarine crystals from killing the guardians, right? And we can actually make sea lanterns out of this. Take a look at this. Boom. So just from emptying out the monument, we got about 25 or 26 sea lanterns. So I think that's probably worth it. Also, I kind of missed this very important thing in the previous episode. Thank you to everybody who reminded me about the gold that exists in the monument. Look at this. 4 blocks of shiny gold. Let's get that in the belly, man. That's beautiful. Oh, we just got an advancement. Make it your home. Nice. Whose advancement was that? I think that is probably, let's have a look. That's got to be like a Mumbo advancement or somebody who lives in a freaking ocean monument. Whose is it? Oh, it's Jess Assassin's Challenges, right? Drain it. Okay, so I got that one, which is awesome. And where is the other one? Is this it? No? A farm would help? Guardian Slayer? Oh, I got that one too. So I've got a ton of achievements out of emptying this monument, which is pretty freaking sweet. I don't know where the other one is, but yeah, I'll take it. Is it this one? Going underwater? Got that one too. Man, we've been cranking open Jess's achievements like nobody's business. Anyway, that's beautiful. Let's get the freaking gold in the belly. Now, guys, this weekend, oh man, this weekend was absolutely amazing. I got together with Iskal85 and we participated in a charity streaming event called the Craftathon, okay? And this charity streaming event was set up to help kids who are coming from very difficult backgrounds, from domestic violence backgrounds and other very hard backgrounds, you know, really difficult lives that these kids are experiencing. And Iskal and I got together with the Craftathon team to do an amazing live stream. We did a dual stream together, the ReNDoG dual stream. And our original goal was to raise $1,000 for childsplay.org, which was the charity. And childsplay.org is a really cool charity. Basically, it is a charity set up to help struggling kids through the gaming industry, which I think is really sweet. And they've done an amazing amount of work over the last few years and raised an insane amount of money to help out kids who are struggling out there. And Iskal and I wanted to sort of help out here in this Craftathon streaming event. And we had an original goal of $1,000. And the Iskalian and Cyberdog communities came out in full force for the Craftathon stream event, for the charity stream. Guys, I don't even, my brain is still trying to process it because it's absolutely insane. The Iskalian and Cyberdog communities managed to raise, hold your freaking breath, people, get ready for this. We managed to raise, are you ready? $6,000 for for kids. $6,000 freaking dollars, man. That is unbelievable. I mean, my mouth isn't even working right now. I'm so freaking impressed and so proud of our communities, man. Unbelievable. $6,000, which is absolutely insane. And every single one of those dollars is going straight to childsplay.org to help out kids who are less privileged and who are going through a little bit of a tough time. And we have literally changed the lives of some kids out there, Iskal and I, and our amazing communities. And it's just such an honor and a privilege for me personally to be able to say that through what I do here on YouTube and through my amazing community and through Iskal's amazing community, we can actually make a difference in this world. Playing Minecraft, you know, making YouTube videos, you know, doing this very strange thing, you know, on Hermitcraft and playing Minecraft and making videos out of it. It's just so crazy to me that we can actually make a difference to people who are really struggling. You know, I was talking about it in the stream, but I wanted to talk about it again today because I think it's kind of interesting. You know, often there's times where I think to myself, oh man, life is so hard. You know, this is so tough. Oh man, I got to wake up and record today. This is going to be really hard. You know, I don't really feel like it. Oh man, my voice is feeling tired, or I feel like sleeping, and you know, I have these issues in my life. But of course, there are people out there who have way bigger issues than you and I have, man. You know, our internet goes down for an hour and we lose our minds. I mean, there are kids out there that are really struggling. There are kids out there that have never had the opportunity never had the chance to even play Minecraft before. They don't even know what Minecraft is because they're going through such a tough time. They're having such a difficult time in their lives. And the fact that Iskal and I can help out those kids through the power of our amazing communities really just... It's an honor and a privilege, guys. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who came out for the Craftathon charity stream, and especially a massive thank you to everybody who donated. There were some people who were donating really huge amounts of money towards this cause, and you know, I cannot wait to show you guys where this money is going to, and hopefully we can get in touch with Child's Play and they can they can show us what's going to happen with this amazing amount of money that we've raised. And I really hope that we can actually help some kids out there and change the lives of some people who have much more difficult circumstances to deal with than we do here in the first world. You know, complaining about internet being down and I don't know, you know, being tired and stuff. I mean, there's far greater issues out in the world than what we have here on YouTube. Anyway, a huge thanks to everybody who came out. A massive thanks to everybody who donated, and I'll try and get that stream uploaded here on my YouTube channel for those of you guys who missed it, and you guys can see how it all went down because it was absolutely amazing. Anyway, we've got a bunch of sea lanterns now. This is amazing. Almost a stack and a half of sea lanterns, which is perfect. And I'm just going to go through this monument, collect all of the remaining sea lanterns, and I'll see you guys back at the Netherboard because we got some freaking building to do, baby. For our very first Ocean Monument raid, this is not a bad haul at all. Cyberdog dogs, check it out. 2 stacks of sea lanterns, a stack of freaking sponges, 8 blocks of gold, and some freaking Guardian and Elder Guardian heads. I'm so happy with this, man. Got it back to the Netherboard safe and sound. And today, guys, I'm super excited. We're getting a little bit technical up in this business. I've been missing playing with a little bit of redstone, and today we're going to be setting up a brand new factory over here. We've been working on storage module beta, which is storing all of the stuff that we need to make concrete, or colored concrete, that is. We got ink in there, we got bone meal, and the last thing that we need to get into storage module beta is orange dye. So today we're going to start working on an orange dye factory. I've laid out some foundations over here, as you guys can see. Been doing a little bit of off-camera planning for this because, well, it is redstone and I do need to practice a little bit before we get going on camera. And man, it is going to be absolutely awesome. Now take a look at this. Since I got all of the shulker boxes from our raid of the end, I've been trying to get a little bit more organized in this series. I've got a whole bunch of colored shulker boxes over here. Black for black concrete stuff, red for uranium, orange for orange, of course, gray for gray, and blue for blue. I mean, nice and color coded, nice and color organized, which is awesome. We're going to take all of this jazz with us. And I've got a little bit of a redstone shulker box with all of the redstone goodies that we're going to be using today. Now, I have been trying to work out exactly how to make an orange dye factory, and well, it's a little bit tricky because what we need is red dye and we need yellow dye, and then we need to combine those two together to make orange dye, because that's the dye that we're trying to get over here. Unfortunately, we're going to have to manually make the orange dye. We can't automatically make that in Minecraft vanilla, unfortunately, but I've got a plan. Now, this is how it's going to work, okay? Let's start laying down a little bit of foundational work over here. Where's the black shulker box? There it is. Okay, this is how it's going to work, right? Let's pick ourselves up a couple of blocks so I can show you what we're cooking with over here. What I would like to do is have some input shulker boxes or some input chests over here, and I want this entire system to be completely automatic. So here's how I want this jazz to work, right? Over here, in these little input sections over here, I want to have white shulker boxes. This is where we're going to be sticking in the bone meal, right? So bone meal is going to go in here. Then I want the machine to do its business, and I want it to automatically create red and yellow dye for us. So in these sections over here, this is where we're going to be receiving the red and the yellow dye, right? So red and yellow dye is going to be arriving in these boxes over here. Now, what I'm thinking is that for the final step, and I don't actually have an orange shulker box over here, unfortunately, by the magic of the interbubs, an orange shulker box and rosebush have appeared. Don't ask any questions, Cyberdogs. That's why it's called freaking magic, okay? Jeez. Anyway, I've installed the orange shulker box over here, and this is basically how our dye factory is going to work. Really, really simple if we can get it functioning. We're going to be sticking bone meal in the white shulker boxes. That bone meal is going to be producing red dye and yellow dye. We will then take the red and yellow dye into our inventory and create orange dye in our crafting section. Then we'll stick that orange dye into the orange shulker box, which will transport all of that dye into storage module beta. So those are the plans for the dye factory. We've also got Edna, the health and safety supervisor, here to look over the project. What's that? You approve of this site? Thank you, Edna. Might I add, you are looking particularly gorgeous today. You do something with your hair or something? Oh man, little cutie pie. Looking fantastic. Make sure you keep the freaking health and safety regulations up and running. You hear me, you stupid freaking dragon face? Man, that's probably no way to treat your health and safety supervisor. But yeah, that's the plan for the dye factory, guys. It's going to turn out really good. Now, I know it looks super simple, but we're going to have to really engage our brains together right now to make this thing work. There's going to be quite a lot of redstone involved here. I want this factory to be completely automatic, and we're going to have to start all the way from the beginning. I'm going to take you guys through the step by step, okay? Because I think it's kind of an interesting project. Basically, what we're going to be trying to do is automatically bone meal a rose bush and a sunflower to create this thing over here, right? So when we get our rose bush in the inventory, we can then turn that into red dye. So when I said we're going to be filling this shulker box with red dye, actually what we're going to be doing is filling these shulker boxes with the flowers, right? These are going to be filled up with rose bushes and sunflowers, and then we can turn that into red and yellow dye and that into orange dye to be sent into storage module beta. There we go. That's a little bit better. Now, how are we going to automatically bone meal these flowers? Well, good news is there is a way to do this, and it's going to be kind of simple to set up. All we're going to need to do is get a dispenser installed above each of our flowers like this, okay? Do I have my dispenser on me? No, luckily I have this very organized freaking shulker box full of stuff that we need for today. Man, pro Minecraft right here. What we can do, of course, is put a dispenser above the rose bush, and then if we stick bone meal into the dispenser and give it a bit of a redstone pulse, boom, you can see we can actually grow that rose bush automatically, for those of you guys who don't know. Pretty simple, right? Now, the problem is that when that rose bush has been grown, or when it has been bone mealed, we're going to need to find a way to collect all of the flowers that are coming out of the rose bush, right? And what we're going to do here, guys, is something pretty awesome. We're going to make use of a mechanic that we used over at the Mooshroom Island. And what I'd like to do is I would like to push a hopper minecart into this grass block that we had over there so that we can automatically collect the rose bushes from underneath. So let's get ourselves a couple of hoppers into our inventory, and we're going to need some powered rails too, which we've got here, and we're going to need a piston, which I think I've got here also, and a button. Nice. Okay, we're organized. We can do this thing. Now, let's get our hopper installed over here. So this hopper is going to be collecting all of the rose bushes that are coming out of that rose bush that we're bone mealing. So what we could probably do here is make sure those rose bushes go straight into the red hopper, or the red shulker box down there, excuse me, right? Beautiful. Now, next step is going to be to try and push a hopper minecart into that rose, or into this grass block over here, excuse me. And, well, we did this in the Mooshroom Island, so we can try and do this again over here, right? So, we've got a hopper minecart on top of a powered rail over there, and what we're going to do is use a piston to push a grass block into the hopper minecart. Let's get rid of the powered rail there too, and then let's get the grass block over here like that, and then what we need to do is get our piston above this, right? So let's get our piston installed above this bad boy like this. That's cute, but very, very wrong, piston. Would you mind being installed correctly, please? You stupid idiot. You're supposed to be facing down. All right, let's hold shift. There we go. Beautiful. Now, let's get the button action going. Boom. Now we have pushed that grass block into the hopper minecart. Beautiful. Now what we can do is replant our rose bush like so, right? Boom. Now, when this gets bone mealed, you can see that that hopper minecart sucked the rose bush out, and it should have arrived here in the shulker box, which it did. So, that's the mechanic. Beautiful. Now, there's another step to this factory that we need to try and get going now, and that is, of course, going to be the way to get bone meal into the dispenser so that the dispenser can grow the flowers. Oh, baby, the ReNDoG brain be cooking with gas today, Cyberdogs. I think I've done cracked the nut on this one. Give me one moment, though. I need a sip of my beverage to keep my brain going. There we go. Okay, so what are we trying to achieve over here? Well, we've got bone meal going into these white shulker boxes, and we got to try get that bone meal up here to this dispenser up here, right? So that we can grow those flowers. Now, the problem with this, of course, is that hoppers don't go up. So we have got to make some sort of an item elevator to get this going. Now, we've made item elevators in the past in this series using a 3x3 item elevator design, right? Where we push items up the center of a 3x3 column. But we're not going to be doing that today because that's super big, super clunky, and there's actually a much easier way to do this using something called a dropper. Now check this out. What we got to do, of course, is start off with a hopper chain. We got to get a hopper chain going from the white shulker box. Let's just break that white shulker box for now and reinstall it in this position. Let's just make sure that it's facing the right way. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, so that it's facing the right way so that it opens outwards. Perfect. Okay, so anything that we stick into this shulker box, say bone meal for example, is going to go into these hoppers over here, which it is. Beautiful, looking good. There should be bone meal over here. Yes. Okay, so what we can do now is install something called a dropper, and what we need to do is make this dropper face upwards, right? So let's make that dropper face upwards, and that should be a way for us to make items go up. Now we got to get really, really smart though, right? Because check this out. What we can actually do is make a chain of these droppers on top of each other like this, and eventually that is going to bring those items all the way up to the same level as the dispenser. And the idea is that at the very top of this dropper chain, we will have a hopper, and then that hopper is going to be delivering items into the dispenser. So we could probably do it like this, right? Let's just get the chain completely made. There we go. So anything that gets into... Oops, that's facing the wrong direction. Anything that gets into this hopper is eventually going to end up in that dispenser. So, say for example, we stick some bone meal in here, right? That should be going all the way over here into the dispenser, and yes, it is. Sweet. So, we're going to have to find a way to trigger this dispenser automatically so that it grows those flowers. But we're going to do that in a moment. The first thing that we need to do is get this item elevator working. And I think I've actually worked out how to do this, guys. I did this all by myself, by the way. No tutorials, no nothing. Worked this out all with my own freaking brain. We're going to need some repeater action though and some redstone, so let's get that in the belly and take a look at this. We also need some slabs, which is kind of interesting. So what we're going to be doing is installing a comparator at this final hopper over here. So this comparator is looking at this final hopper, and then we're going to have a redstone repeater, and exactly the same way that we used in the item elevators, we're going to use this hopper to create some redstone pulses, right? So let's stick some bone meal into here, and there we go. We can see that's going into this dropper, and that's triggering over and over again, and this dropper is getting filled with bone meal. The problem, of course, is that this bone meal is not being delivered into this dropper over here. So we can easily fix that with a little bit of this action. Let's get a block directly behind this dropper over here. Jeez, all these names are starting to mess up my brain. And let's get a bit of redstone coming out of this pulsing signal. Now, what happens if we stick some bone meal into this this hopper over here? That's looking good. Now, that has gone into the bottom dropper, which has pushed it up into this dropper. And because this redstone signal is hitting this dropper, it should have pushed it up to this one too, right? Very, very nice. Now, the problem is it's gone all the way up. In fact, it's gone all the way to this one, because when this dropper is getting this redstone signal, it is also pulsing a redstone signal into this dropper, right? Because this block is getting activated by the redstone. I know, it's crazy, right? The ReNDoG learning about redstone, man. It's all about the Iskal85. He's been teaching me this jazz, man. Now take a look at this, guys. What we need to do is create a little bit of a redstone elevator so that we can get a redstone signal all the way up to this dropper, right? This dropper needs some signal too, so that it can start pushing the items into that dropper above it. So what we're going to do is add a bit of redstone here on this slab, and then we're going to add another slab over here, I think it is. Yes, I think that's the right position for it. We're going to add another bit of redstone up there. So now when this redstone triggers, that redstone signal should go up into this dropper. Then this dropper is going to turn on that dropper because they're touching each other, right? And then this dropper is obviously going to push the items into that hopper above. Now, let's see if this is actually going to work. Let's stick like a whole bunch of bone meal in there. And what we should see is a bunch of bone meal landing in here, but it doesn't look like it is jumping up to this dropper, which probably means this slab is on the wrong block. I think it needs to be on this one. Yes, there we go. Okay, I think I solved it. Now, let's get the redstone in there, get all of that bone meal out of the dropper chain, and let's try that again. So let's stick 31 bone meal in here. We should hear that ticking away, and we should see the bone meal going up there into that top dropper. That is fantastic. And if we've done this right, yes, it's hitting the item hopper at the top, which should be sending all of that bone meal into the dispenser. Yes, it's arriving. Okay, that's fan-freaking-tastic. So a nice, super simple item elevator that we've created over here, just using some redstone shenanigans. Much easier than the item elevators that we made in the storage modules, but we were moving items much higher or much longer distances. So I think that those item elevators are okay. But yeah, that looks pretty good, right? Now, next step, of course, is to get that dispenser up there to automatically trigger so that it can grow the flowers. And, well, this is going to be the easy part, right? We are just going to create one of these redstone comparator loops again, and we're just going to be triggering this dispenser over and over again, right? So check this out. Very simple to make. We've made this over and over again in this series. I mean, we should know how to do this off by heart by now, right? We're going to have our redstone cable coming out of the repeater and over the dispenser. Now, when we stick bone meal into this item hopper over here, it should automatically trigger the dispenser. Yes, there it is, triggering the dispenser, and we should see our rose bush growing. Yeah, look at that. Look at all those rose bushes arriving over there. Oh, that is absolutely amazing. Okay, so let's test this system from the ground up. Let's head over to storage module beta, collect for ourselves a few more bones. Let me take, like, I don't know, let's take a bunch of bones, turn that into bone meal over here, and we can give this a proper freaking test now, baby. Let's get back to our dye factory. Man, it is looking super janky. But if we have set this whole system up correctly, when we stick bone meal in here, it should start creating red flowers for us. Yes, there it goes. Okay, so everything is working. The bone meal is traveling up into the hopper chain. The dispenser is getting triggered, and all of that beautiful rosebush action is being created here in this red hopper. And that is absolutely amazing. So all we need to do now is recreate this for the sunflower side of things, and then our factory is pretty much going to be up and running until, of course, we create an item aqueduct for the final orange dye input chest. But we're going to do that a little bit later. Oh man, I'm so excited. Let me get the yellow side of the factory set up after I sleep the night away again. I know it doesn't look like much right now, Cyberdogs, but I think I may have just got this factory up and running. Oh, baby, I'm super excited, man. I think it looks kind of cool. It's really minimalist, which I love, right? I just love factories that are really simple to understand. Iskal is an absolute master at making these sort of factories, and I wanted to make this one as intuitive as possible. I mean, look at this. So simple. Just a couple of inputs and outputs, and boom, this should be a working dye factory. Now, let's get back here to where where the brains of the operation is. All of the redstone and all of the hopper chains and all that jazz has been installed now. Looking kind of cool, right? And I've also added the item aqueduct, which is going to be sitting directly underneath the orange shulker box over here, right? This goes all the way down here, and then, well, now we're going to have to run. And there's a freaking skeleton down here. I don't have any weapons on me. This is not good, okay? I'm going to have to pickaxe him to death. What is he doing down here, man? There ain't supposed to be no freaking skelebutts. There must be a section of ocean biome or something in here, right? Can I actually kill him? Yeah, I should probably put a torch down here just in case. Ooh, some diorite too. Nice. This is the worst tunnel ever created. Anyway, this is going to be the item aqueduct that is going to transfer all of that orange dye into storage module beta down there. Beautiful. So I'll probably get that done off camera. But now, guys, I'm super excited. I want to give this whole thing a test. Let's see if our factory's actually working. So, for example, we want to create a bunch of orange dye so that we can carry on making buildings here on the netherboard. We're going to crank in 64 bone meal into there, 64 bone meal into there, and step back and watch the magic. I'm hearing a lot of clicking going on, which is really, really good. Yes, there we go. I got a little bit worried there. I didn't see the yellow side working, but let's just get all of the non-flower blocks out of the shulker boxes too, because there's going to be a little bit of dirt left, I suppose, from the construction work. But there we go. Look, it's actually working. It's looking so sweet. Okay, so all of those flowers should be made. We should get 64 red in here, 64 yellow in here, and then we'll take it to the next step of the factory. So there we go. That's the automatic part of the factory done. And why is there only 58 sunflowers in here? I think maybe the bone meal gets trapped in the dropper chain. Yeah, it does. Okay, that's not a problem. So there's a little bit of inefficiency there, but that's totally cool. So now we're going to take our red and our yellow flowers, and then using our new 1.12 crafting system, right? This is super simple. All we have to do is make yellow, then we have to make red, and then we're going to drop all of that. Oh, wait, no, there's one more step that we forgot. Then we got to make the orange. So we make all of the orange. Beautiful. And then we're just going to be sticking that orange into this shulker box, which is going to be delivering it into storage module beta, which I think we will finish off in the next episode. But that's the dye factory, guys. It freaking works, and I'm really proud of this redstone. I know it's really simple, but it's pretty advanced for the ReNDoG, man. I've never made anything like this before, so I'm super proud of this, and I'm very happy that this is working. Next episode, we will finish off the building and connect it up to storage module beta, and I got some good plans for this building, man. It's going to look absolutely amazing. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. I think we've run a little bit long with the redstone. Hope you enjoyed it, though. I had a freaking blast recording today. I love doing redstone on camera. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know. I kind of like it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy it, remember to hit the like button. And if you want to see this completed and you haven't subscribed yet, well, hit the freaking subscribe button so you can keep up with this series and all the other series on my channel. Thanks for watching, guys. ReNDoG signing out from the netherboard, and we will smell you all in the next episode.